And we're back.
Cool.
Part 2. We're going to finish off the second half of Season 6 of Community, the final season. So we'll start right back up with Episode 8, Intro to Recycled Cinema.
Yep.
Oh, this one's so funny. So the Save Greendale Committee are in the study room watching a video of Ben Chang, who's being interviewed on like an entertainment-style talk show.
Yep.
Super hilarious. It's about a commercial he was a part of that ended up going viral for one of his catchphrases, Ham Girl.
Ham Girl.
It's hilarious. So they're talking in the interview, and he's discussing how he's going to pursue acting in Hollywood, and he hasn't been at this old community college he used to attend, Greendale, for weeks. So everyone, while they're in the study room, are just freaking out. They can't believe it. So later at the bar Britta works at, everyone's kind of mildly toasting to his success, but no one's really that excited.
Yeah.
That happy for him.
Yeah. Elroy doesn't even remember him really and says his name is some kind of noise. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And then Abed brings up that he actually has video footage of Chang for one of his old film projects, and Frankie suggests they make a movie and capitalize on Chang's growing popularity to get Greendale some money. So everyone's kind of excited about the project except for Abed. He shows them his footage back at their apartment. We actually hear one of his characters say he's going to punch someone in the throat.
Yes, a throwback to Hickey.
Which I think is hilarious because he helped Abed with the dialogue.
He said he got a real detective to help him. You're right.
And then Britta says that she doesn't think cops should be heroes, and Annie says, Britta, pay your rent. So despite all of Abed's complaints, Frankie ends up calling her Hollywood producer friend Murray to meet up with them, and he is absolutely sure they can make a profit off of this movie as long as it's starring Chang, the ham girl guy.
Yeah.
Which is a thing now. So Abed's really, really skeptical, but everyone is in, and Jeff tells him that they're going to need a Chris Pratt type, and he'll do it if he has to. He can slouch.
I'll reluctantly take that
role.
Fuck
All digs at Chris Pratt this episode are great. So Abed's kind of forced to reluctantly agree, and he says that he's going to do it as long as he's allowed to make a quality movie that he has final cut over. And everyone says, sure, but it has to be done in a week, even if it's bad.
Yeah.
They're like, sure, kind of, not really, but okay.
But
It's
sure,
not
whatever.
money, but okay.
Yeah. So the next day, production begins on Chief Star and the Raiders of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Excellent title.
And it, like, comes in fully like it's the movie you're watching it happen.
So we're watching the movie happen, and then they'll, like, cut, and then we see them actually film. It's actually really, really well done, this episode. I love it.
So right.
So they're filming at Greendale. Jeff, Britta, and Annie are the lead characters. Jeff is the mayor of space and the dad to Britta and Annie. Yeah. Britta is Princess, do they call her Meridian or something? Meridian?
Oh, you're
right. She
right.
wants to be called Princess Britannia.
Britannia.
And she has really bad grammar, obviously, because she can't have good grammar. And then Annie is Scorpio 9,
I'm
pleasure
a pleasure droid.
No, wait, I'm an assassin?
You're both.
Yeah, exactly. She's my other daughter, so that's your sister.
That's your sister. Oh.
And then Dean Pelton is playing Chang's stand-in, so we just see the back of his head. And Garrett plays the iconic character Glip Glop.
Glip Glop! Oh, yeah.
The best. So Abed is kind of trying to assume as much creative control as possible, but everyone is limiting his number of things he can change. Frankie literally tells him he gets 2. He gets 2 things he can change, so that they can keep the process moving, because they have to finish this movie over the weekend.
Yeah.
So Abed is obviously not pleased, and Jeff pulls him aside to talk and tells him that he needs to stop striving for perfection, because this video needs to be finished by Monday over the weekend. He uses a metaphor he can understand to relate to Abed about working out and going to the gym.
Yeah.
Jeff says his body is his canvas and he will never be done because Chris Pratt will always be out there mocking him, so he can never stop. He tells Abed that he needs to get out of the gym and premiere his work to the public.
Yeah.
Get out of the gym, take off your shirt.
Exactly. And show everyone what you're working with. So Abed agrees, and they continue shooting. So we go to the next scene, which is basically a Star Wars-like style cantina scene.
Yes.
And Elroy is playing this monster. He's got this third eye on his forehead.
Yeah.
The Dean is still playing Chang. Frankie's in the background playing the drums.
Steel drums!
Playing steel drums again, which is hilarious from literally the last episode.
Fun reference.
So while they're shooting the scene, Elroy's third eye, like his fake eye, falls off during the take, and he puts it back on. After they're done, everyone's kind of looking to Abed to see if that was okay, if he's gonna, be too demanding, and he looks at Jeff, who mimes lifting, weights, and Abed's like, that's fine, we're moving on.
I love that Elroy says, he's like, this is the Wild West, baby.
Yeah.
Space version of the Wild West.
Hilarious. So the film pace is kind of going quicker and quicker, and during a fight scene between some robots and Jeff, Britta, and Annie improvises pulling a laser bomb out of her boobs.
Laser bomb! Oh my god.
I think Britta tells her that she makes things hard for, women
Women,
everywhere.
when you do things like that, shut up and pay your rent,
Yeah, or
shut up.
Like, damn, Annie, okay.
Oh, fuck off, man.
So then Glip Glop actually reveals he's an evil spy.
You're right.
And then Jeff, Britta, and Annie have to escape, and they end up getting trapped in a trash compactor room, very much like Star Wars.
Star Wars,
duh.
right?
And they're about to get crushed when Chang, Chief Star, appears to save them.
Yes.
And the video, or the movie, ends, and it's being shown to Maury, and we see Dracula being played by Leonard, who kills Chief Star.
He feels Dracula Force. You're right.
I don't
He's
feel
like,
the Force.
I know,
can't.
I do feel the Force. It's ridiculous. So the film ends, and the guy actually loves it. He thinks it's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's 87 minutes, and he needs it down to 81. So they need to cut at least 6 minutes, and everyone decides to cut Jeff's character's death scene, which is 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, because it's excessive.
It's a little long, doesn't really fit in with the flow of the movie. It's a movie about Chief Star.
Yeah, it's just
literally, it's an entire monologue of Jeff right before he dies. It's a bit absurd. So Jeff actually doesn't like that idea, distracts everyone by saying that they need to get those swarming hornets out of the garbage so he can steal Abed's laptop while everyone's not looking.
Yeah.
And he runs away, definitely not doing a bit. And I loved Elroy says, let's be real, it's pretty obvious when he's acting.
Oh my god.
Sick burn.
Exactly. I love Elroy. So Jeff is trying to learn how to edit in the room with all of the frisbees from the start of the season.
And he's trying to edit and he's watching a video, and I love it so much because for
Biederman.
anybody who's ever fucking edited and then try to Google how to edit, it's like,
bullshit.
I don't want to learn how to fucking label the files, you dumbass.
I already
Teach
know
me
how
how
to
to
do that.
edit.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
so ridiculous. So Jeff hears this noise, and Abed makes his way into the room, and he's wrestling through the frisbees like that really stupid Big Bang Theory scene.
Oh my god.
I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but that's totally what he's doing. Yeah, it's like that Sheldon character in a ball pit, and it's like, they're totally making fun of that with Abed and the frisbees. So Abed's trying to level with Jeff, and he says the movie is a piece of crap, but Jeff says that doesn't mean it can't be good, and he's kind of getting a little bit more frantic. Abed disappears into the frisbees, and Jeff warns him to stay away. He says, I'm huge and I have 0 blood sugar. I will kill you in these frisbees, and nobody will ever find you.
Yeah.
So he keeps trying to edit, and Abed jumps out of the frisbees. That's why he yells Bazinga.
Yeah.
That's a Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And Jeff loses his shit and tackles him and starts to strangle him.
To actually
attack
He's
him.
full on strangling Abed, so much to where Abed's like, you're killing me. And Jeff says, good. And then Abed's like, no, you're actually killing
Yeah,
me.
no, it's not good.
No, that's not good. So Jeff realizes what he's doing and, jumps off Abed. He's totally, struck by what he's done. And Abed's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Even Abed is like, what the fuck, dude?
Exactly.
This is going a little far.
This is a line.
This is much even for you.
Yeah.
So Jeff basically confesses to him that he just realized every single one of them is going to leave Greendale except for him.
Yeah.
He's like, Troy's gone, Shirley left, Annie's going to be president. He said even Pierce got to die.
Yeah.
Got to die. I love it. And then Chang obviously going to Hollywood, that had a big effect on him.
Yep.
So he's like, so we forced you to make this bad movie. We forced you to make it worse, and it still wasn't even that bad. And he's just freaking out because he knows he's going to be the last one at Greendale. Mm-hmm. And also he knows that they gave Chris Pratt fake muscles for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Saw Parks and Rec.
I saw Parks and Rec.
There's no way that happened. So Abed tells Jeff that making this movie helped him realize that a lot like life, things can be unpredictable and you can't plan for everything. Because even if you do, everything could still fall apart at any moment.
Yep.
But when we keep the cameras rolling, eventually something good will happen, like Annie pulling a bomb out of her boobs. That's why you just gotta keep on going. So the film is premiered to the entire school, and Jeff's death scene is cut, but Abed made a compromise, and they added an additional short scene at the end where his character sees Chief Star in hell and confronts him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I told you I'd see you in hell, Chief Star.
And Glimglop's
Yeah,
there!
exactly, because why wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
He's a true star. So the audience at Greendale goes crazy. They all love it, as does Maury.
Yep.
But then he receives a call from his distributor saying the deal is off because they're filing for Chapter 11. And he's like, wait, what's Chapter 11? It's like, they're filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the internet?
Yeah. It's this whole ridiculous thing. And then Annie reads this news alert, and she's like, I wonder if Chang's going to continue to be marketable because they're reading about like a scandal he was involved in. And then we end up going to a scene where we see that Chang is reading lines for a new Spielberg movie in Hollywood, but he's being really difficult, so he's actually fired.
Yeah.
So
By Steven Spielberg.
himself, and he has to crawl out a window in the back. So the
Through
end
another
tag,
vent hole.
exactly, it's not even a door. So the end tag is Chang walking back into the Save Greendale committee in the study room and joining him. Very awkwardly, everyone gets all quiet as they watch him take a seat, but then they all welcome him back by basically making fun of Britta together when she thinks Abed quoted Pink Floyd instead of quoting a movie. Yeah, because they're talking about like the Greendale haircutting, or the cosmetology school doesn't have the people that they could do haircuts on because of the lice outbreak last year.
And that's episode 8.
Yeah, that's it, ain't it? I really like this one because like the whole series we've had episodes where it's like Abed dealing with like him getting better and better at his film skills, and I like that he really focused it. He's like, I was making a movie, and I'm actually going to make a movie out of like a minute of footage, and I'm going to create a whole movie based around that one character. And then he actually does it's just like he's really evolved in his movie making process, where he's just falling around with documentaries. He's like, no, I can make something completely unique from one source material.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
I love that.
It's really unique. It shows his strength.
Abed is really talented.
Exactly.
And it makes sense for like where the series ends, like the place that Abed goes, because
I was
like
just
obviously
thinking that.
he's grown.
Yeah.
Immensely. Because of Greendale and his friends.
He's so, like, he's in reality. Like, he's aware what's going on. He's trying to make this movie. And Jeff is the one who's freaking out and isn't able to handle anything that's going on. And he's trying to, like, throw everything into this crappy movie that actually doesn't really mean anything because he can't handle the fact that his friends are talented and going places and he's kind of not.
Kind of peaked.
Yeah. He has peaked in like that Greendale and like his role at Greendale and kind of being like a teacher and having access to more stuff and like kind of being in charge. That is his peak. That's the best it's gonna get for him, and everybody else is gonna go all these other places, and he's upset that he's kind of already gotten to his.
Yeah. A lot of realization for Jeff.
Yeah.
Definitely. I also think it's one of the funnest ones to watch because like when they come back from break and then we're fully in the movie, I was like,
great.
No way,
That's exactly
no
what I
fucking
wanted.
way.
Yeah, but I didn't know I wanted it until they did it.
It reminds me of that movie, and I'm going to have to make you watch it, Gentlemen Broncos, where the whole movie is about a screenplay that they're fighting over. It's very contentious, and so the person who wrote it has his own idea of what it looks like, and then the person who stole it has his own idea of what it looks like, and then they fully realize that, though. Like, they show you shot for shot what that movie actually is.
So cool.
So when I saw that in this one, I just lost my fucking mind, because I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant. And then, like you said, it's fun because I think it flips a whole narrative of Abed on its head. It's like, for once, Abed is fully in reality and understands his place in all of this, that he can actually make something that's as close to quality as possible from something random and small, and understands his role in reality, and Jeff is using it as a way to escape reality.
Exactly.
Which is very much the opposite,
For sure. And then it's really cool because it shows the group there for Chang, weirdly enough, despite everything he's always done.
Yeah.
He comes back and they're just like, okay, that's fine, you're here again.
And you know what, I think it makes sense because it's like he's been there from season 1.
Exactly. Where else is he going to go? Who else is going to be there for him?
Yeah. Exactly.
Greendale's a place where people who've made mistakes have a chance to have like a better themselves, and Chang's like, I did it again. I made it, and I fucked it up.
Screwed it all up, and I'm back.
This is a place where I need to go back to grow.
Yeah. That's so true. I love that.
Because obviously he does enjoy acting. He learned he has a passion for acting. So maybe in our fan fiction, Chang like actually tries to be an acting guy.
Yeah, and maybe he takes some theater classes at Greendale.
Some guilty.
And obviously, and in the Karate Kid adaptation episode, we saw that he's talented.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So I like that they explored that a little bit more.
They continue that on, with this episode.
Exactly. But then they also make it fun because, like I said, it's this whole dissection of Jeff's character, understanding of where he is, and I like that. I think he needs to be grateful for the fact that it's like, at least you're a teacher, you have some sort of power here. What you have is good, but he's always lamenting at everybody else's opportunities.
Yeah, because he feels like he doesn't have any more.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so true.
Instead of seeing what he has around him.
Yeah. We'll go on to episode 9.
Grifting 101.
One of Stone's favorites. I love it. Oh, it's so good. I like this one because we even, like, the whole opening is like a hand-drawn sketch of Greendale with the, like, classical piano music. It's so perfect. So the Save Greendale committee is in the study room. They're all looking at the course catalog for next year. Annie suggests they take a Grifting 101 class together.
Which is nice because they're finally going to take a class again. This is the first time in a long time to study. It's the study group again.
Yeah.
You guys all want to learn how to be grifters together?
So excited. And then Jeff immediately warns them that as the closest thing the school has to a grifter, the class obviously is a grift.
Yeah.
So Annie is like, this is one of the things where Jeff gets jealous of something dumb. And everyone points and laughs at him. So they're reading more about the class, and it requires everyone to purchase a $150 regulation grifting briefcase. And Jeff is like, you guys, I'm telling you, this class is a grift.
Yeah.
And Britta's like, all you do is contribute negativity to this group. And they all decide to take the class and rub it in Jeff's face together. Who can lend Britta the money? She'll pay them back.
I'll get it from your parents.
I'll pay you back. In which case, I'll pay back your parents.
Which will be never! I'll get a high
She's
five
too
from your
hardcore.
parents.
So it's the first day of Grifting 101, and they meet their professor, Roger DeSalvo.
Yes.
Oh, he's incredible. He comes in, gives this great introduction, and instructs everyone to partner up and pass their briefcases back and forth for 40 minutes. That's their class.
Casual. Also, this is the guy.
Yeah.
He's a big British actor. He's on the new rendition of
What We Do in the Shadows.
on television.
Yeah, and he's been in a couple British shows, like we said too, I think.
Dark Place, Dark Place.
Yeah. So he's kind of deflecting everyone in the class. Like, they all have questions and complaints about the course, and he just writes everything off because he's a professor. They have to listen to him. So after class, everyone who is taking the class in the study group finds Jeff in the cafeteria to complain about the class, and Jeff settles in and makes them all admit to him that he was right and they were grifted. And it's beautiful. So they ask for his help in getting revenge, but he refuses because they pointed and laughed in his face. Come on.
How can I ever help you after something like that?
So Annie tries to apologize for hurting his feelings, and he says, my feelings are fine. I'm just lazy. Okay, Jeff. Plus, he wasn't personally affected by the guy, so he doesn't really care what happens. This is fine. But that immediately changes when right after that scene, Jeff goes into his office and sees none other than
Roger DeSalvo
sitting at his desk, drinking his scotch, on the phone, saying, good show. Good show.
I don't know that show.
Haven't seen that show.
All right, then.
It's so great. So Jeff's a little annoyed, but admits to kind of admiring DeSalvo's style. So Jeff tells him about his lawyer past and how he's kind of a grifter, and DeSalvo just tells him that he's a good liar while saying that his grifting is an art form, and he calls himself God's paintbrush, and then says, no, wait, I basically am God, which means I'm better than you.
Which pretty much makes me better than you.
Exactly. Oh, it's so funny. And Jeff gets all upset, and he storms out and he leaves, goes right back to the cafeteria to join his friends and say that he's in to grift the professor. And they all hug and cheer and start chanting grift in the cafeteria.
Grift.
And then everyone starts staring at them, and they stop.
And then they all have to, like, try to walk away nonchalantly.
Yep, so I love it, because in between every, like, scene transition, it's still that, like, sketch drawing and the little piano music. So we get one of those, and then it's DeSalvo's class the next day. Everyone's passing their briefcases back and forth again, and he says that they're ready to start using fake stacks of money that weigh the same as real money, but cost $5 a piece.
Nice.
Oh, ridiculous. So Elroy gets a telegram in the middle of class saying he's been left $1 million, but the African government has seized the funds. So DeSalvo tells the class to leave early. He holds Elroy back and calls him out for using the African telegram grift. And then calls him out for the grift within a grift and says, nice try twice. And then DeSalvo
double beam.
Yes. And then DeSalvo tells Elroy that he'll find whatever information he knows by saying one name. So he says Jeff Winger and gets whatever reaction and dismisses Elroy. And then I think Stone does it best.
That's it.
And then because he tries for a third grift, and what does he say? Nice try thrice.
Nice try thrice.
by the way, Jeff Winger.
Yeah.
So Jeff approaches Professor DeSalvo in the teacher's lounge, and DeSalvo calls him out on the African telegram grift, and Jeff admits to it and suggests a truce. They cheers, and then the telegram guy from the grift is actually in the teacher's lounge. and gets up and leaves and ends up forgetting a lottery ticket on the table.
Yep.
He makes it really obvious that he's there. So Jeff picks it up and tries to grift the professor again
in front
very
of his face.
stupidly.
Yeah.
And he fails, and he ends up promising to grift DeSalvo's ass. He says, "I'm going to get you." And he walks out of the room backwards, right? And then Frankie comes in and takes everyone's alcohol, which ends up prompting Roger to go to Britta's bar to drink.
Oh, you're right.
So while he's there drinking, she reveals accidentally that she used to date Jeff and asks him what it'll take to make him go away.
Yep.
Nice.
Because she doesn't like whatever he's doing to Jeff. She doesn't like what he's doing to him. So then later in a storage room, because that's where they're meeting now. That's where they're hiding out. The Save Greendale committee is meeting, and Jeff tells everyone that his plan is working and that DeSalvo took the bait. So when he's actually pressed for details, though, everyone realizes that Jeff is making this up as he goes. And he doesn't have a plan at all. Exactly. And he's like, I've been with you guys this entire time. When would I have time to sneak off and plan an entire grift and then withhold it from you? At which point Abed says that in the Sting, they do withhold stuff from each other or from the audience, but he thinks that's just for effect, which I think is very funny, considering where this episode goes.
Right, exactly.
So then Jeff gets really mad and tells Abed, why don't you marry the Sting? And then Abed says, okay, just so you know, if I do and we have half-Sting children, when they ask me how to grift, I'm going to tell them to watch their mother and not listen to you. Abed just goes off on him. It's so funny.
Fucking faves.
So then they all start to argue. There's all this commotion, and then they end up watching The Sting.
Yeah,
the actual Grift movie, which proves to be no help at all. Britta's upset because Sting wasn't even in it.
Oh, I fell asleep.
Yeah, they're all ready to throw in the towel and call it a night when DeSalvo appears from, like, nowhere. Has he been in the room the entire time?
Just watching them watch the Grift so that the Sting, so then he can make fun of them for watching the Sting.
It's my favorite, because maybe he was. That seems very like him. So he's kind of belittling everyone and their efforts. He's really attacking Jeff, and Britta punches him right in the face. And he runs, and Britta chases after him. She's like, I lived in New York!
That's one of my
So she chases after him to that silly piano music, and everyone follows her. He ends up slipping on a recently mopped floor and falls down some stairs and gets really badly injured. So the dean ends up paying him $50,000 for his injuries and also to keep him quiet. Britta gets expelled for causing the incident. And DeSalvo rolls out in his little wheelchair he's now in with his briefcase of money from the dean. So then Britta calls DeSalvo to meet in secret in the storage room, and it's pretty obvious that he isn't injured at this point. There's a little flashback that plays of them planning this whole ruse at Britta's bar earlier.
Bar immediately after, you're right.
So DeSalvo gives Britta her share of the money, which she takes in her own briefcase. She kisses him, and she tells him she'll see him at the motel later. And then he's leaving. He's rolling around singing his grifter song.
What is it? What does he sing?
Some say I'm a lucky grifter.
Some say I'm the king of England.
I am the king. Oh, it's so good. So he's like moving his briefcase around, and he realizes that his briefcase was switched because he opens it up and sees that there's fake money inside. So then we see like a really clumsy switch flashback of, I think it's probably Abed or Annie switching the briefcases while Britta kisses him. They're banging around. It's so funny. So then Abed and Britta appear in front of him with both briefcases, and they kind of taunt him. So they run away.
Get like the old time music.
Exactly. They get the whole school involved in this ruse. Leonard appears in front of him with this dolly filled with briefcases that all fall. It blocks his path.
I know which briefcase is mine.
It's mine. What are you doing with all these briefcases? They have mine. So he can't get past Leonard because there's those briefcases. They have a whole line of people walking with briefcases the other way that traps him. And then they show up on stairs, so he has to get out of his wheelchair to chase them on the stairs.
You're right.
Because he knows that they have their briefcases. So the school is all involved, blocking him from getting anywhere, and then DeSalvo catches up with Britta and Abed in the cafeteria, where the dean, Frankie, and then that officer from earlier that we've had through the whole series also is. And Roger claims that his money was stolen, and Abed and Britta play innocent and pass their briefcases back and forth really poorly.
We're just practicing for class.
These are our briefcases. So DeSalvo tries to reason with the officer, and Jeff appears in the background. He says, I think we need to take what Roger is saying more seriously. He literally appears behind everyone. He's doing a puzzle. He's doing a puzzle at the table in the cafeteria.
You're so
It's so funny. So Jeff stands up and basically tells Roger that he can say he was outwitted by people he vastly underestimated, Or he can say that he lost the briefcase and owes the school money for injuries that are clearly fake. So DeSalvo admits that he was grifted, and the committee celebrates, and they all start cheering "grift" again, while he walks away defeated and starts taking off all of his fake, injury materials, whatever.
He had to basically admit that he got grifted, and he didn't get injured. So.
Nope. So the dean says that under the circumstances, DeSalvo isn't really needed to teach the class anymore because, as Annie says, they already know all there is to know.
Nice.
Yep. So Frankie suggests that he refund all their money and everybody gets some hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Annie does the Running Man while she's doing it too.
Oh, it's so funny. Then we get an awesome end tag, and it's Ryan Ridley, this guy that saved Jeff's life at the gym. Jeff saved his life at the gym. He was the African Telegram guy from earlier. It's this whole, show of him doing stuff for Jeff.
Because he saved his life once, and now he's going to owe him forever.
Yeah, it's super hilarious.
And he's one of the writers on the show.
He is, Ryan Ridley, yeah. I think he actually wrote this episode.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So that's a hilarious one.
That's badass.
I love it, because Jeff's ego gets out of control in this one, but it's in a good way, where he actually has someone to, channel all of that towards and actually best. Yeah. And I love that Abed says in the sting earlier that there's sometimes stuff that's withheld from the audience for effect, and it's like, oh, that's exactly what they did, because we never saw any of this happen.
Exactly, and it's like, and it could have, we could have known, but but they withheld it from us just for the effect.
I loved hilarious. It's so smart. That's very aware of itself. That's what I love about this season. It's so funny and so quick, but it's so smart this season too.
It's so true. I think they go out of their way to up the ante with everything that they do and be so much more aware. And that's one thing that I really like. And I think I like that Jeff has this issue with this professor because he's everything that Jeff is, but he's not willing to accept who he is. And that's why Jeff wants to shatter his reality. He's like, no. What we do is the same. Don't you tell me that it's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually the one willing to say we're both shitty fucking people, right?
Exactly.
We both take advantage of people, manipulate situations, and he's like, oh, but I'm better. And he's like,
I don't do
not today, friend. Not today. I was actually ready to be cool with you and tell you I respect you, but the second that you start challenging and calling us what we aren't, it's like, just say it for what it is,
Yeah.
And I like that that's Jeff's motivation, because for once he's like, no, let's be honest with ourselves. And if he would have been willing to just be like, yeah, we're liars and we're grifters and whatever,
that's what we
Jeff
are.
Would have never gotten involved. But he's ripping off his friends, and now he's trying to act like he's better than them.
Exactly. Now what he's doing is directly affecting Jeff, and he's offended Jeff. Yeah. Now Jeff is like, oh, you just flipped my on switch, friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice try.
Exactly.
I'm gonna show you how to grift.
And then it's top to bottom just such an homage. It's so in that vein. So all of the transitions being sketched, the music,
all of the little tropes that they do at the end with the briefcase stuff. It's hilarious.
And then even just like you said, withholding that information from us and then having it be a big reveal at the end with a flashback. It was very much in the vein of it, and I think it did such a good job. All the acting was great. I love the guest star that they get.
Oh, he's hilarious. He makes the episode.
Oh, he makes.
I know it's a character.
His name is Matt Berry.
Yeah, Matt Berry. Thank you. Okay. He's obviously supposed to be the professor that we don't like. He's challenging the group, but I love him at the same time.
Oh, he's so incredibly likable. I love it.
First scene, it's obvious. He's a grifter.
Yeah. Come on. He throws his hat and hisses.
Yeah. What? Did you think I was a mistake? You think you caught me in a lie?
It's too much. This is a really fun episode.
Yeah. It's top to bottom. That's the thing. I think it's one of the funnest ones of the season because it's there for. It develops some things for sure, especially within Jeff, but I think it's mostly to be let's have the group get together and have fun in it.
Exactly, and take a class again together, like Stan said, and accomplish something and take down a teacher.
Together, and hey, they did prove to themselves that they did know everything there was to know about grifting, and they did what they say that the sting does, where it's they get a bunch of people involved to do it in coordinated secrecy.
Exactly.
But the only place they could do that is Greendale.
Of course, where else could you get away with that?
Right.
Of all places. So I think we'll jump to episode 10, right?
Yep.
Basic RV repair and palmistry.
Yes.
Oh man, this is a jam-packed one.
Oh,
one of the
so
best.
Fun. Oh, so good.
See. We're just gonna dive right in. So the Save Greendale committee, everyone is driving in Elroy's RV with a giant hand strapped to the top. This is literally the opening
That's
scene.
literally just how it starts.
So everyone inside is kind of silent. They're all doing various activities, and Abed breaks the silence by saying, 3 weeks earlier, in kind of a meta attempt to provide commentary on their absurd situation, so it makes more sense for the audience members, obviously. Because they're on a show.
Yeah.
Jeff is visibly annoyed at this. He clears his throat and just, like, leans forward and stares at Abed. Oh, it's too much. And then Elroy ends up asking to speak with the dean privately because he's driving. So they pull the little partitioner.
Yeah,
There's
like the
really
divider.
no privacy.
Yeah.
As everyone
It's
is making fun of.
plastic.
Yeah, so everyone's making fun of that. There's really no privacy in there. And Elroy tells the dean he wasn't aware he'd be driving 7 people as well as a giant fiberglass hand tied to the roof of his car. And he reveals that they're almost out of gas, but he wants the dean to keep it secret.
Yep.
So the dean, Craig, is like, don't worry about it, I got it. He leaves and immediately freaks out and tells everyone that they're out of gas. I have never seen such little gas in my life.
The needle
is on empty.
It's like, the needle's non-existent.
Yeah, it might have swallowed it, you know,
For energy, for more gas. You're so right.
So, and then everyone ends up freaking out. Jeff tells everyone, he's like, I'm yelling even louder than you, so you have to stop. He gets everyone in order. He says they have to take charge of what they can control. Yep. So Annie suggests everyone charge their phones, so they have full batteries. But once everyone plugs in their phones, it kind of starts to drain the battery life of the RV, so it starts shaking, and Elroy has to pull it over and stop anyway. Yep. So then we get an actual 3 weeks earlier flashback of the committee deciding what to do with the giant hand, and Abed raised his hand at the end of the meeting and suggests they use this moment to establish the opening for a flashback, and Jeff denies him. So then we're back in reality, and the RV won't start. Abed is lamenting about not getting to do 3 weeks earlier. And Jeff says, Abed, insert dialogue here about you dropping the fourth wall shtick. Abed goes, nice. Elroy decides to go out and he wants to check the battery. And then Frankie and Annie are each on their phone trying to get a towing company to send someone to them.
Yes, both of them at the same time.
And they keep getting put on hold because the other one keeps calling. It's hilarious. So eventually Frankie gets through and they find out that it is Armed Forces Day and it is really boning them.
Yeah.
Because all of the trucks are involved in it and none of them can help tow them or help them at all. So the dean blames Frankie for the mess they're in because she insisted that they sell the hand he bought.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is absurd. And then Jeff blames the dean because he made another mess yet again that the committee has to clean up. So Abed's kind of observing all of this, and he once again suggests that maybe they did need a 3 weeks earlier flashback because there's a lot of narrative pipe happening. There's a lot of dialogue. And then Jeff shuts him down again and is really mean to him. Elroy comes back in the RV and tells everyone that the primary battery is dead, but they still have the secondary one they can rewire to the primary, which Frankie nicknames their little course of action. And he says as long as everyone stopped charging their phones, this should be fine because the secondary battery was just charging the cabin, so we're all good. But then it's revealed that no one has stopped charging their phones. What does Elroy call it? He says there's a vampirical orgy. Of cords.
Of cords. Oh my god, you're so right.
So they basically don't have either battery, and they're stuck in an RV. So everyone's settling in to stay in the RV overnight. Elroy's passing out blankets. Yeah. He's distributing them.
Yeah, exactly.
By size, according to like who caused this mess for them all. It's very funny. Abed is in the back. He's still trying to flash back to 3 weeks earlier. So we see him in the study room, and this is a slightly different scenario, and he wants to restate again that they should use this moment as an opener for a flashback, and Jeff once again dismisses him, but kind of buys into a little bit, and he's like, just kidding, I almost fell for it. Elroy admits he can't go all night being this angry at everyone because it's not good for him, heart attacks run in his family, and you people aren't worth it.
Oh god, I love Elroy.
He's incredible. He's one of the best. He's such a good addition to this crew.
David is a badass in all things he does.
If there ever is a movie, they gotta bring him back.
Yes.
So Elroy apologizes for stranding them there because he didn't fill up the gas tank and he wasn't honest with everyone about it. And Jeff says that for their part, they're sorry charging their perfectly normal cell phones destroyed his weirdly fragile RV.
What an apology,
Great job, Jeff.
Yeah, and then he apologizes for his bad apology and says he's gonna try to be better. Oh, it's too much.
Yes.
Abed comes out from the back of the RV and apologizes for being unavailable and trying to cut to 3 weeks earlier.
Yes.
Really nice. Britta apologizes for smoking weed earlier.
Oh,
which
that's
everyone
one of
already
my faves.
knew.
Everybody was like, yeah, you kept seeing the same bird.
It's pretty obvious what was happening. So Abed actually flashes back again. He once again tries to convince everyone to use this as an establishing moment for flashback. Jeff calls the meeting. Back in the RV, Jeff calls Abed a dip ass.
Yeah.
He says, quit being a dip ass.
Oh my
and
god.
Abed actually walks away offended this time.
Dip ass.
Yeah.
It's a
Like,
new
of all
one.
things, it is. Then Annie apologizes.
We can't say
for,
shit.
Yeah, no, that's so true.
The best.
Annie apologizes for not asking everyone what snacks they wanted at the gas station.
Because otherwise, she crushed it.
Yeah, she's been nailing it.
Yeah.
And then everyone gets mad at her, and Frankie's like, she has been nailing it. I haven't been.
Oh my god.
And she admits that this is all her fault, and Britta's like, you're all right, Frankie. And everyone's kind of feeling nice because they've all gotten that off their chest.
Yeah.
Everyone looks at Dean Pelton. He looks at all of them.
I forgive all of you.
What?
You.
Oh my god, you
That's-
what? So they all immediately go after him for not taking any accountability that they're in this position because of him. and his stupid giant
100%
hand.
because of him.
It's so stupid. So Abed has a flashback again, and in this flashback, he tries to lay out the story structure for them, and he's like saying that they already had a minor disaster happen, and they're due for a bigger one to happen, and they need to listen to him. So unless they make this moment, the opening of the scene now, they're due for something even worse to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the RV, the dean can't handle being called out.
No.
He can't deal with everyone coming after him for his mistakes.
Can't handle that.
And he storms out of the RV, and as everyone resolves to not go after him, Abed does because he knows something structurally bad is about to happen.
Yep. Just story-wise, it has to.
Yeah, they're overdue for it. So he goes up to the top of the RV and sits on the giant hand with the dean, and the dean thinks Abed actually gets him and what's important about the hand. He's like, someone finally gets me.
Right.
Because Abed says he doesn't belong up here.
Yeah.
Dean's like, finally. But Abed admits to knowing story, and he says they're structurally overdue for a disaster. And then the dean said, figures the one person on my side is the one playing people chess.
One thing I also love that the dean says, he was like, did they come out here did they send you out here to be mean to me? Because I can't cry anymore unless anybody brings me a Pedialyte.
Yeah. Oh, Dean.
Oh my god.
So then one of the straps holding the hand up there comes undone.
Yep.
And Abed asks the dean to flash back with him.
Yes.
So they flash back to
They
3
flash
weeks
back together.
earlier in the study room together, exactly. They both raise their hand at the end of the meeting, and they ask that the hand be tied down with extra thick straps,
Extra
please.
thick.
Reinforced.
Extra thick straps.
And then Jeff tries to close the meeting, and they actually tase him, and he passes out, and they do a little extra thick straps, and they do a little dance, and it's ridiculous and hilarious. So back to reality, Abed's like, oh yeah, we totally fixed that problem. We're totally good. And the dean's like, what do you mean we fixed the problem? Nothing happened.
He's like, what, you didn't flash back with me? No!
Of course not. So the hand and the Abed and the dean, like everything
Snap
falls
off,
off. Yeah, and the hand falls off the RV. Everyone runs outside to help because they hear it from the top. Annie's like, did something fall? What's Britta say?
Britta says, that's a really stupid question, Annie. Of course something fell. The question is what?
You stupid
Fucking you
bitch.
are so close, you
I
dumbass.
love her. So everyone runs outside to help.
She's still stoned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
totally.
sure. That's why I love it. So they all run outside to help Abed lift the hand off of the dean because they think it fell on him.
Yep.
But he's actually fine. Runs in behind them and goes and locks them out of the RV.
Never mind, we don't love you. We hate
you. So Elroy goes around and tries to check the back. Jeff tells Abed to try to reason with the dean because they bonded while he was outside with him.
Mm-hmm.
Abed loses himself in another flashback because he's oversaturated with the gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff smacks him in the face and he's like, no, you're not. Just do what I'm telling you to do.
Come back to reality.
And Frankie steps in and she's like, what are you doing? And he says, do you try to get him to do something normal without abusing him?
Yep.
Oh my god, that's not right. But then Frankie steps in and actually does help the situation because she tells Abed that he's actually from the future and he's flashing back to right now to help them.
Yep.
So Abed flashes forward to the future where he's Space Elder Abed and he's with Space Elder Frankie and they're reminiscing about a moment in time, about something.
All these centons ago.
Exactly.
Where all of the mass casualties could have been saved if you would have just done that one thing.
Exactly, and then Space Elder Britta comes out.
I'm Space Elder Britta!
And just stare at her.
So what are you guys doing?
So Abed actually goes back to the present to speak with the dean, and he tells him he knows the true purpose of the hand now, to grip and to release, to help them learn how to hold on and let go of things. And the dean comes out and actually apologizes to everyone finally, and then they all hug, and it's really nice, and then a few days later, they're in the study room all hanging out. It actually says, 3 days later. There's a 3 days later, flash scene. And then Chang walks in covered in feathers, and he goes, the reason I'm covered in feathers is... And then it cuts. That's the end of the episode.
Exactly.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then the end tag is the guy who was supposed to be buying the giant hand
Yeah, who bought it from
all
the
of them. because his son got taken away by a giant kite that he purchased.
Yep, so he just thought if he was a bigger daddy with a bigger
hand,
he'd be able to catch him.
He'd be
Jesus
fine.
Christ.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, then what about the giant watch? Well, I just thought that looked cool.
No. I'm going to go walk the dog and eventually leave you.
These end scenes are dark.
They're
pretty dark.
That's why I love them. They're their own little story, basically.
They are.
Unless it's not tying up the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I loved this one. This is such a funny episode. I love that Abed is oversaturated with the gimmick, and he's trying so hard to flash back and keep the story on structure the entire time. Oh, it's so funny.
I think it's funny. I think it's so fun, especially for people like us who write stories, who are very into story structure and understanding, and even just consumers like Stone would understand, but it's like the third act or the second to third act, right before you're getting to the climax is always the worst thing. It's the point of no return.
Yeah.
So you understand that if we enter this show and we're already on the way, like, we need to go up 5 levels of crazy before we're even going to get to a resolution.
We started at crazy.
This
is
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
See, if only that show This Is Us was about crazy people instead of just like a tear-jerking
stupid drama.
Stupid.
But yeah, I think this is one of the funniest episodes.
Oh, it's hilarious.
I really appreciate, again, Frankie being this voice of reason who's able to connect with so many different people and actually
especially Abed.
Connect with Abed and communicate with him in a way that actually gets him to do something.
Plays on his playing field and on his level rather than trying to make him work on everyone else's.
Unlike Jeff last episode saying, let me put it in a metaphor that I can understand.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
This is really somebody who can actually communicate with Abed and level with him in a way that I think is super unique to Frankie. And it's fun. I like that they really address that the dean is never held accountable.
No, that's so true. That's so great to see.
That he actually causes a lot of drama
that
and he
they
makes
have to
the
clean
schools
up.
Crazy.
That's why there is a Save Greendale committee.
Yeah, because of all the things the dean has swept under the rug, and then he goes to his default. I'm a bad dean, and they're like, you always fucking say that.
Exactly.
We're actually being authentic right now and owning up for shit, and I appreciate that because it's something we've talked about in being friends. You hold the people that you care about accountable because you want them to be better people.
Right.
And if you let them keep living in this fake reality, then they're actually never going to be able to do the things that they say they want to do. They'll never be able to save Greendale unless they tell the dean that the shit that he does puts them in danger, in danger of not being around. You can't spend all of your money on a giant hand.
Yeah, that's not going to do anything. Oh,
and they end up keeping the hand, and it's obviously at the front of the school, and it says, keep a loose grip. And it's nice because it's a reminder of everything that Abed said, and it's a good reminder on advice that we can take in life. But I still think it's funny that the dean still gets his way.
Yes.
In the end of it. But I think that this is the introduction of the dean really seeing his place in all of the drama instead of being like, I'm just the zany dean.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, like I'm the dean and like I can't be doing these things, and so he lets them hold him accountable. Yeah. Kind of like in the way that like Troy tells Abed a few seasons back, you're gonna just have to trust me. Yep. You can't do everything you want, but I care about you.
Yeah, and that's why I'm telling you can't do everything you want.
And I think it's kind of the same kind of conversation with the dean.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's so sweet. I love that. Episode 11, Modern Espionage.
Oh, so good.
The return of paintball.
Yes, the final paintball.
The actual final paintball. I hope that if there's a movie, there's paintball in the movie.
Oh, yeah, or at least a scene. Yeah.
So this one opens with Vicky putting on her one-woman theater show.
Yes.
Vicky. Which is great. Starburns actually leaves early because, as he declares, theater is dead after all of this.
We get a lot of love for the side characters this season.
It's hilarious because he actually...
Because we even see them in the Situation Room in the Ruffles episode. They're all there helping.
They're all in the background, And it's funny because we meet another one. So while Starburns is walking through the parking lot, Todd appears.
Yeah.
And he asks if Starburns knows anything about paintball. And very ominously, and Starburns is like, you're being weirder than normal. So they actually end up, they try to shoot each other. They get into this paintball fight in the parking structure, all while Vicky's performance is still happening, and she's singing this song about, like, rainbows and oceans. Yeah. It's so great. Starburns manages to win, which surprises both he and Todd, but he's taken out by someone with silver paintballs.
Yes.
So then we go into our credit scene, which they do like a spy.
Full James Bond style
it's
opening.
Very tight.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Different like sound and everything. So it's the next day, and Frankie officially declares that paintball is prohibited and has Starburns escorted off campus because he doesn't know any information. She thinks he's lying. Jeff walks up to the scene, and Frankie tells him that she's trusting him and needs his help to make sure that there's no paintball because they have a gala coming up. So Deputy Chief Custodian LaPerry shows up to the scene to give Frankie an update, and we find out that he's actually being honored at the Cleanup Greendale Gala, and that Jeff and his friends have caused him nothing but misery for years with their paintball games. Jeff reluctantly tells Frankie that he's going to try to maybe stop paintball this year. So when he gets into the study room with the rest of the committee, he's trying to get everyone to agree to help Frankie and not play paintball. They're all agreeing, and then Chang pulls his gun out on them, and he's like, that'll make it really easy for me to win this year. And he tries to shoot someone, but then they all are too quick.
Annihilates him.
And they all shoot Chang. It's crazy. And Jeff is like, what's going on? And he realizes that they're also in on the underground paintball game, too.
Paintball?
Elroy's my favorite. So students kind of start to run to the study room. Jeff grabs a paintball gun and shoots multiple people. Someone runs out saying, Jeff Winger shot me! So he runs by Frankie. So Frankie makes her way to the study room. Jeff convinces everyone to act normal. So she interrupts them, and everyone appears to just be playing that ears game. Have it again, and they convince her that they aren't involved, and she's like, well, and Jeff says, a well is a hole in the ground for when you're thirsty.
And she's like, oh! But she doesn't even know how to respond.
And then she appreciates the cool new way to respond to when a person says well, which is hilarious. So she leaves the room, everyone takes their guns out again, they're ready to shoot each other.
They're in a standoff.
When Abed informs them that he has suspicions of who is running the underground ring. So they meet in another storage room, which I guess is their thing this season. Abed is conducting his investigation on a computer, and he shows everyone the connection he made between the players' silver balls on the system with City College. So the dean interrupts them from behind a bunch of, storage room equipment. And he officially declares them the Dean Force One.
Dean Force One.
After a whole long speech about how when the school doesn't need the dean anymore, and, the old days are gone, and Frankie's cleaned up the school, and everyone loves her.
They
can still go back to the old times. So they vow to take down the silver balls and save the school and save Greendale again. So Abed infiltrates Club. Looks ridiculous written down in my notes. To find the paintball supplier Fun Dad. Which ends up being Kugler from the Meow Meow Beans episode, which is hilarious. I love Kugler. So Abed is kind of trying to is asking him for paintballs. Kugler's showing him all the different colors. He's got the sarcastic mellow yellows, green meanies. Abed's like, do you have anything in silver? And Kugler's like, oh, let me see what I got. But then he tries to escape. And he's only stopped by Annie. But before she can get any answers out of him, Kugler is shot by some silver paintballs.
Which I love, because Annie's like, how do you know Silver Man?
Because she doesn't want to call him
how do you know my accountant?
I love it.
But so he's shot with silver paint and taken out of the game.
So during the commotion, Kugler, he kind of slips away, but Abed ends up getting his thumb drive, so he's got all of his information. So Elroy is able to find a message chain between Kugler and Silver Balls when he hacks the thumb drive, and it confirms that a large supply of silver paint was ordered to be used at the Cleanup Greendale Gala. Ooh. Big news. So later on, the Save Greendale committee are all at the gala. They're all dressed up. They're all in dresses. They look amazing. Exactly. They've all got earpieces, and they're spread out to scan for potential threats. So Annie and Abed are partnered up, obviously. That makes so much sense. They're incredible. They're dancing together on the dance floor.
We can't brush over the fact that they all have code names.
Yes, as well. So true.
And they're all different Batmans.
Batmans are all different actors of Batman.
And then Britta and Elroy are also partnered together, which Elroy mentions earlier. He's like, oh, I don't know, why did they partner us up together? And then Jeff is trying to distract Frankie while he's trying to coordinate everyone as he's scanning the room. And he tells the dean to stay checking the custodial wing and then to scan the perimeter of his own office. So when the dean's trying to go up in an elevator, he's ambushed, and the elevator is actually playing Daybreak.
Nice.
So we get another hint of Daybreak.
That elevator scene's like a Captain America reference, too.
Yeah, exactly, and he's bombarded by all of the custodian as, like, paintball players, and he miraculously manages to take all of them out
in a
and
literal
annihilate
choreographed,
them.
like, fight scene
Oh,
a
it's
la
so
Captain
funny.
America Winter Soldier.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Great homage.
Because of the Russo brothers, obviously.
Yeah, of course. So he manages to take everyone out, shoots the last guy, escapes the elevator, and he tries to run back to the gala to tell everyone what just happened. So Elroy and Britta are in a paintball fight in the kitchen. Annie and Abed are keeping an eye out on the dance floor. Jeff overhears on his headset when he's trying to introduce LaPerry for his award. He hears Elroy and Britta, and he's becoming, like, really disoriented. And then that's when Frankie has everyone commence what she hopes will become a yearly tradition, the popping of the balloon!
Oh my God.
So while this ridiculous thing is happening, everyone's popping balloons, Jeff sees someone approaching him in the crowd who's, like, raising his hand. He thinks he's going to shoot. Jeff thinks
Frankie.
So Jeff shoots him, and Jeff actually ends up shooting an innocent bystander that turns out to be, like, a disabled student.
His badass instincts went off.
No, he's like a disabled student who has, like, the arm crutches, and he shoots him directly in the face.
Yes.
And everyone is just shocked because he did that on stage in front of everyone. It's horrifying. So Dean Pelton rushes in, and he declares that LaPerry and the custodians are behind all of this, and they're helping City College. Mm-hmm. So LaPerry is on stage while the dean announces this, obviously. And Jeff and Dean Pelton try to get LaPerry to come back to their side, but he refuses, and a paintball war breaks out.
Yeah. Everybody's involved.
Everyone's going. Britta and Elroy are shot. Annie and Abed end up getting taken down together.
Which looks like by silver balls.
Yeah. And only Jeff and the dean are left to go after custodian LaPerry.
Yes.
So he takes off, and they follow him to the Museum of Custodian Arts.
Yeah.
Which is in the school, which looks like just a storage room. They think it's a storage room, but it's actually...
I know, that's like a place if you're a janitor. Then, like, it's funny seeing, like, Jeff and the dean actually kind of like, no, we're buddies. We'll crack jokes. Like, I know, like, the dean's too much, but, like, he's my neighbor. I like him.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a really nice moment. So they catch LaPerry off guard as he's giving his, like, villainous monologue speech because he thought they were mannequins. Because there's mannequins in this, like, museum room. It's so funny. So Jeff is trying to level with him and convince him to reconsider, telling him that he knows Frankie and she's not the enemy. She'll understand the whole situation and she won't fire him as long as he comes back to their side. And the dean is actually kind of going on the Perry side for a little bit too. He's like, Greendale's a cigarette, and Jeff's like, we're a carrot stick. Yeah. We're Robert Downey Jr.
She wants to make us a carrot stick.
Yeah, and it's this really nice moment where Jeff is like, Greendale can be better. That's why Frankie's here, because she wants to make it better. We just have to be on that same level with her. Yeah. And then Frankie comes in the room because she found them all, and she's like, he's right. Yeah. He's like, I won't fire you. I'm not going to throw a party, but no one's going to lose their job, and we'll all be okay. Yeah. So LaPerry kind of agrees to this. She leaves, and Jeff, the dean, and the custodian agree to all shoot themselves in the foot. So that way everyone's taken out of the competition, and it's fair. But then they all end up shooting each other, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is so
funny.
And
it's what they deserve. They're all...
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone expected that.
Yeah.
So then Frankie ends up punishing the Greendale committee by making them dress up and act like babies.
No, babies.
And she has note cards written for all of them. Jeff's like, I like big trucks. I saw a fire truck today.
My favorite one is Elroy. I made a stinky.
Yes. And he's, how do I say Paschetti?
Oh, that was the best. Yeah. And then Frankie's like, we can do anything as long as we set our mind to it and we act like adults.
And we agree to grow up.
And then the end tag is hilarious because it's now Garrett's stand-up show
about
Vicky's theater show.
Surviving Benny Bitty Vitchy.
Yes, yeah, and it's Garrett's stand-up, and he's just tearing it down, and Vicky actually ends up interrupting him when he's talking about Vicky's dead mom. Yeah, and she's like, I'm sorry I didn't honor her memory properly for you. And then the two of them announced together that they're actually going to have a show coming out soon called Vicky and Garrett.
Oh my
And
God.
Vicky's mom isn't dead.
And yeah, exactly. And my mom's here in the audience, guys. Everybody's like, boo!
Round of applause for Vicky's mom, everyone.
Fuck off.
We're glad that you're booing. It means you felt something.
Ridiculous.
Eat my ass, Vicky.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. It's so funny. I love this one. It's a really good return of paintball.
Yeah.
And I like that the stakes are very, very high for this one. It's not like, I guess they're high in season 2 of City College, but this is like, it's obviously like
It's
the
about the
spy
fate of
James
Greendale
Bond.
within
Yeah.
inside. This is a war within Greendale.
Especially in the
From
last
the
season.
inside.
Yeah. Because Frankie, her entire thesis for this episode was, I'm just literally trying to make Greendale as best as possible. That model she creates is we'll never look like this, but this highly
We
future
can
campus,
feel like
that's how I want to make it feel. I want us to
Yeah.
feel like this is a place where, it's crazy, it's zany and all that, but it's respected and it's where we can grow and we can turn the good Belushi strengths not in just a haha funny comedy act, but something special. And that's
Yeah.
all she really wants to do. And it's the reality of that setting in, and the dean being like, wait, I can't buy Honda products. Wait, I can't buy a giant hand. There's more than a couple times where the dean has come in complete and total contradiction with where Frankie wants to go.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the thing. I was like, yeah, we've been paying attention. Frankie's been cleaning up Greendale.
For sure.
And how much can you clean up a cigarette until it's not a cigarette?
Yeah, and then it's not a cigarette anymore, and that's what Jeff says. We can be a carrot stick.
Exactly.
But it takes everybody being on the same page
Yeah.
and wanting that
Including you.
instead of sabotaging it and
Yeah.
trying to make it so that we still
And
stay.
buying a
healthy,
$5,000
productive
virtual reality system.
Exactly. All these times where honestly, I love how crazy the dean has gone. This is him in his wackiest.
Yeah.
Because it really shows how necessary Frankie is.
To keep
'Cause
him under control.
Imagine all these episodes happening without Frankie.
Oh boy.
How would these solutions be made
Actually,
without?
that's
She's the one that walks in and is like, listen, you guys don't have to worry about your jobs or anything weird. I get where you're coming from. We'll have a conversation, but I want you to know I want the best. And everyone's like, all right,
And then I like that she deals with it in the most weird way a normal person would, who's like, okay, well, as your punishment, you're all dressing up as babies.
Yeah.
Because
you're
that's what
acting
you're
like
acting
giant children.
Exactly, because that's how Reiki is, and she's so literal. She's like, oh, no, you guys were actual children, and now the way that I asked you for my montage of sorries, I'm going to ask you to dress up like babies for a week so I can feel just
Absolutely.
in my
your betrayal.
righteousness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
it.
One thing that Stone and I talked about a little bit, and I want to touch on it though, was the whole time we were watching this episode, and I think in looking back, we feel like the Silver Balls character was meant to be the dean. I really believe
absolutely
the dean was the one
creating it,
orchestrating it, because when we see the shadow of a trench-coated figure that's shooting at them,
it's shot.
it looks from the stairs, right?
Yeah, it looks like the dean in a trench coat with a
looks
beard
like his
and glasses.
silhouette. It looks
He
like
wears
him.
costumes.
Constantly.
He'd be so threatened by it. He'd be the one who actually has the most to lose. Same
Yep.
with LaPerry, because he's like, wait, what the hell? I need to be able to clean. It's just going to be clean all the time. There was even that episode in season 3 where it's the end thing where Abed's talking to the janitor and he's like,
they're cleaning
doing all this.
everything
It's
up.
they've been having to deal with paintball. There are real people that do have to deal with the zaniness, and I think that's what's unique with the show. Is this show is surrounded by actual people that are pretty frustrated with the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
The show existing in their universe.
Yeah, because they
so
have
true.
to deal with all those consequences.
Yeah.
To the concept, exactly. It's in what world can you just have a school-wide paintball, game?
War.
And then the thing is, a
God.
full-on war. And then that's the thing. No one asks the question of so in the real world, who shows up to school tomorrow to clean all that shit up?
Exactly.
Yeah, I really appreciate this episode. Like I said, sometimes I wonder if the dean was originally supposed to be it, and then they kind of left turn it. But I do appreciate how they tie it up, because, like Stone said, it's once we clean it up so much, when does it stop being what it was and what we loved? But Frankie's there to remind them we can be a better version of what we were.
Exactly, we can still be Greendale.
Exactly, but we're in a new era where the grades that we give out matter.
Yep.
People want to come here, and we're not just the laughing stock of the
Exactly.
city.
We're not the butt of the joke.
That's so true. So we'll jump into episode 12, Wedding Videography.
Oh yeah,
Our last documentary
Classic.
episode.
Yes, penultimate.
Yep. So we're in Jeff's law class, and Abed is obviously filming another documentary. Jeff questions him, and Abed admits that he's freelancing and says that he tells Jeff the video is a surprise. So Jeff starts teaching his class, and he lets everyone know that Garrett asked to make an extra credit presentation.
For extra credit, you're totally right.
Yep, and which is actually about marriage law, and Garrett's whole presentation is used so he can propose to Stacy, who we find out that he's actually been apparently dating for 16 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days.
Yeah.
And Stacy says yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So Garrett's getting married.
Yeah, Garrett's
I was
off-screen girlfriend.
the first time I saw this, I was like, is he proposing to a stranger
to someone
right
who's
now?
never met? That's what I thought
But
too.
apparently they met at Pencils and Such, and
Yes.
he said he was there for the
For
such.
the such, exactly. So Abed keeps filming because he's aware of Jeff's weird facial expression, he said. And then I love what Jeff says. He's like, you're noticing expressions now.
Oh, you're noticing expressions now.
I thought you were still sniffing hair to tell Frankie from Annie. And Abed says, yes. I am still doing that. So it's later at the apartment, at Annie, Abed, and Britta's apartment, and Abed is still filming his documentary, and he's recording Annie doing her missing lover footage.
Oh, which is so creepy and weird.
It's horrifying, and Britta actually walks in on that.
Like,
and
what are you fucking doing?
And she's like, she tells them that that's really
you
gross.
know, somebody was lost or missing, and then they, like, look at all the dead pictures of their dead girlfriend and lament.
Britta's like, oh, that's really healthy, guys.
You should call the health department.
Yeah, they don't want anything back. Oh, man. But then Britta ends up having her, like, documentary moment with the camera. She's explaining that they're getting ready for Garrett's wedding. She describes who Garrett is to the camera. This weird guy that they've known for 6 years that they don't really know. Talks in a funny voice. And she says they've invited everyone over there to get ready. So Frankie ends up arriving first, and it's really, really awkward when it's just her, Britta, and Annie.
Oh, it's so funny.
Because Frankie doesn't know how to interact with girls in a non professional or work capacity. She doesn't know how to just be casual. It's so hilarious. So it's really weird until Jeff, the Dean, Elroy, and Chang all show up, and they bring the party.
Yes.
Literally bring the party.
Watching Frankie, like, struggle, though, is one of the best parts of that.
Yeah, because they ask her how she is, and she's like, didn't you already ask me that? And
they're like, well, if you didn't just pretend I forgot and say it again. And then she's like, I've been tending to my personal affairs.
Oh, it's just, she, like, clears her throat.
And I've been taking care of my sister who's mentally
it's
retarded.
so uncomfortable.
And then that's when Jeff bursts in, Patty Ray!
Yeah. Oh, God. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Annie and Britta end up revealing that they padded the time so they could trick Jeff and everyone into showing up so they wouldn't be late to the wedding. And now they have more time to hang out together, which is really great. They play Celebrity Garrett Marriage, where everyone does impressions of Garrett getting married to different celebrities. It's really fun. Jeff talks about their synergy together and how they work so well. Frankie tells them that they're all just codependent.
They're just codependent, yeah.
It's hilarious.
That's codependence.
And they realize that they've been playing the game for so long, they all ended up being late anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So Abed's still filming them as they all rush off and hurry to the wedding. They show up basically drunk in the middle of the service that Todd is officiating, where he suggests that maybe I'm God.
Science and religion are for me alone to wield.
Oh, it's too much. Todd's a weirdo. So as he, asks, he tells Stacy and Garrett to exchange their vows and kiss. Chang falls off his chair or breaks his chair, and everyone starts laughing. It's really absurd. And then the reception after the wedding starts. So everyone's still partying and hanging out. Garrett's mom approaches the group after the wedding and calls them all out on their shitty behavior, basically.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I don't want my son to kill himself, so you guys, try to be better people.
Do whatever you need to do to be better.
Hardcore.
Just a reminder, study group, you're kind of assholes.
Yeah, again, because they are, for sure. So everyone is shell-shocked. They're like, holy shit.
Well, and to be fair, they came through the bushes in the middle of the ceremony drunk, and then they laughed so hard during the whole thing that, everybody was distracted.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they were really horrible.
Not appropriate wedding behavior. It's awful. So then they all decide that they're going to be on their best behavior for the wedding and be the best damn wedding guests, ever. That's their new mission.
They can't just blend into the wallpaper.
Cool.
No. They have to go out of their way to make everyone know that they're amazing.
Yeah.
They can't just tone it down.
No. Yeah, exactly.
So Britta ends up finding herself while she dances on the dance floor alone. She's like, maybe a person can't be whole when they're part of a group. Does that make sense? She's like, whatever. I love you, Abed. Elroy falls back into his old ways of over-encouraging white people, which is great.
Round of applause for that. That's one of the best storylines.
It's so beautiful.
White people are so hard on each other.
All you gotta do is be there to remind them that, you just gotta give them that little encouragement. It's too much. Annie helps push Stacy's Mima around the dance floor, but then she's telling Frankie she feels bad because she didn't push around Garrett's Aunt Polly, and what's Aunt Polly gonna think? Frankie tells her to relax.
Yeah.
They both have the same demon,
the same dragon.
People. Yeah, the same dragon is helping other people. And then they have this conversation about, like, slaying their dragons together, and Annie comes up with all these funny names.
Ariana Puffington.
Yes, oh, that's the best one. So Garrett's brother and best man is thrown out of the wedding. He can't give his best man's speech anymore because he got too drunk, so Jeff steps in, and he wants to make the ultimate speech based off everyone's intel they got throughout the night, and they're going to out-toast the entire wedding party.
Yeah.
God, I love my job.
Wait, that's not my job.
God, I love myself.
There you go, Jeff.
Killing it. So Jeff is actually killing it with the, like, perfect toast.
Right, he's bringing everybody together,
Yep,
talking about all these family stories.
Yep, he brought up the girl that went before him who was really bad. He trashes her. Everyone thinks that's hilarious. She starts crying, but it's okay. And then he accidentally uncovers, as he tries to bring Stacy's Meemaw and Garrett's Aunt Polly out to the dance floor, that Garrett and Stacy are related.
Cousins.
That Polly and Meemaw are the same person, and that makes them cousins. And as Elroy says, now that's a man who knows how to marry his cousin.
Oh my god.
God damn it, Elroy, no!
Oh, now's not the time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's too good. Because you're like, how is this going to keep on going? What's going to happen? And then Garrett and Stacy are cousins. So everyone at the wedding party is stunned to find out that they're related. The wedding is kind of ruined, and everyone in the study group, or the Save Greendale committee, kind of starts to blame themselves for what happened, and they all end up attributing their negative behavior and all of their bad habits on being a part of the group. So they're like, this group is making me bad.
I'm only the worst when I'm with you guys.
And then Chang is like, I'm at my best when I'm with you guys. And Jeff's like, well, that cuts it. Separate cabs, separate cabs, separate cabs. They're all vowing to leave. That's it. And then Garrett and Stacy get up on stage, and they're announcing that they're going to call off their wedding. Yeah. This is it. And Chang actually gets upset by that and rushes the stage and takes the microphone and gives this whole speech and asks them if their feelings about each other has changed, which they haven't. Mm-hmm. And he gives this really heartfelt speech about how they shouldn't ignore their love just to please other people who kind of suck anyway.
Yeah.
Because what are they doing for you guys?
Yeah, they're not going to be any better friends to you or worse friends to you because of this. If you
decide to, stay married. So why not stay married and be happy? Which is exactly what Garrett and Stacy decide to do.
He says, you guys can stay and eat cake. Or go to hell!
Exactly. So they cut their cake together, and Stacy agrees to be Garrett's legally incestuous wife. And then the end is Abed filming the whole group, literally group hugging and slow dancing together with all their eyes closed.
Their slow sway.
Oh, it's so funny.
Their codependent group hug.
Yep. And Annie looks right at the camera, and Abed tells her to please stop jimming the camera
so
again.
Much jimming.
Yeah, because he did it early. She did it earlier. It's so funny. And then the end tag is the writer of this episode talking about incest.
Oh, and he
so weird.
Directly addresses the camera and says that he did the research, and that in state to state they have different rules on incest. And in one state, you can take your cousin on a date, but the next one you're looking at going to college or going to jail.
It's
and
too
he just
much.
wanted
It's
to talk
absurd.
about the disparity in that. And I'm so-and-so, and I wrote the incest episode of Community.
Yeah, I can't tell.
And it ends like that. And I was like, why?
Yeah. I couldn't tell if it's like tongue-in-cheek or anything.
Exactly.
Or if they really, no, he said that if they wanted to write this episode and air it, that he would have to do a thing after saying that he was the one who wrote it.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Weird.
Very weird.
So now let's talk about the episode as a whole.
Yeah.
Funny episode. It's so hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
It's hilarious. I love, again, getting another look at these side characters, knowing that Garrett's been dating this chick who's like way out of his league.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Having Todd officiate the wedding, all of the world building that they do in that, and again that they dress that the study group they're kind of shitty people.
Oh, they're so selfish sometimes.
Are so selfish and only think about themselves in a situation.
Because they care so much about each other. So like, well, if we're caring about each other, that's all that matters,
zero
right?
shits about everybody else.
Oh, I love it. Because I'm like, I relate to that.
So I
else.
I think we both do, right? It's like we're having so much fun with each other that we don't realize that we alienate other people.
Yeah.
But they're really bad about how they go about it, obviously.
And I love that Frankie ends up being a part of it. Like, I wonder how she feels about being labeled an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, you're so right.
By proxy.
That's so true. And I like, again, she tries to level with Annie and help her kind of not rush to fixing Jeff.
Yes.
And try to deal with her own
people.
demons.
Yep. Realize that she has to do that instead of trying to help other people deal with theirs.
Yeah.
She has to work on herself.
On herself, exactly. And that it's not selfish to, like, not be doing everything for everyone
Yeah.
else.
I love
I
that.
appreciated that.
Definitely, yeah.
I think like none of it bothered me. Like even when it was like, oh, she's marrying her cousin, blah blah blah. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's weird. Like, but it's
Haha,
community
weird,
and stuff.
but
But
yeah,
yeah,
no,
it
whatever.
is
It's not that big
weird
of a deal.
until that
Didn't
like
bother
end
me.
credits scene
The incest
that they
end
had
tag.
to like
Yeah, that was
talk
bizarre.
about it. That I'm just not quite.
Dude,
sure
you have a hot cousin you really like, huh?
That's what this was.
And his cousin was like, so he wrote this episode
About me.
Cool.
Mm.
But overall, I like that they touch on the fact the group is a little codependent.
Yeah.
And it's at the very end of the series,
Yeah.
so it's kind of just like this is who they are. They rely and they depend on each other.
And
That's who these people are.
And I don't think I think codependent to the point that you can't function on your own
That's
is
bad.
an issue.
Yeah.
But relying on people as your support system and sometimes feeling like being with them helps you function better. I don't always think that that's necessarily a negative thing.
Right.
Codependence has a very negative connotation, and I think that they explore that, like, yeah, they maybe overdo it, and they feed into a lot of their negative qualities,
For sure.
but they also feed into a lot of their best qualities.
Yeah,
Exactly, and it
definitely.
never ends up holding any of the characters back, as we'll see in our finale in our next episode.
Which
Codependence or synergy.
Synergy.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we'll call it. Oh man, so the series
Finale.
I can't believe we're here talking
We
actually
about
did it.
the last one.
of the last episode
real
of Community.
wrapping up the
oh
real
my
book.
gosh.
The real one, you're right.
Emotional consequences of broadcast television.
Which
There
that
are
title
emotional
alone,
consequences.
Yeah.
that title
Oh
alone.
my god, it's too much. So this is it. This is the last episode.
Yeah.
Oh man. So Leonard actually opens this one for us.
Which I love.
Yeah, it says,
I love it.
School's out, bitches. It's
Yeah.
so cool. I love it so much. And then,
R.I.P.
yep. Oh man, yeah. And then the dean makes an announcement over the PA system, congratulating everyone on making it through another year. And he's like, take that various, health inspector, building inspector, whatever inspector, geologist,
Everybody-
plumber, and dad. His last one. I love it. So the Save Greendale Committee is waiting for Frankie to finish her paperwork so they can enjoy their summer. Abed bought a metronome to accentuate their last meeting's final seconds.
And yeah, the anxiety of it
Yeah,
all.
that ticking noise. Frankie is about to finish all of her stuff, but the last thing on the agenda is to rename the committee since Greendale has officially been saved.
Oh, I see. I love that that's the whole point of it. It's like, she's like, yeah, we've done it.
Yep, the last thing on my list is to rename the committee because we did it.
Yep.
And not everyone's excited, and she's like, come on, this is neat. She's like, we accomplished what we wanted to do, so Jeff suggests they call themselves the accomplishers. Britta says the obsoletists.
Yes.
Abed suggests they call themselves Stephen King's dream catchers.
That was one of my faves.
Annie says Susan. That's what they should call themselves. But to Frankie's dismay, everyone agrees on Elroy's suggestion of the nipple dippers.
Nipple dippers.
Nipple dippers.
Which is amazing. So the dean makes everyone wait because he wanted to meet up with everyone, and he actually shows up overdressed in costumes to make up for not wearing a single silly outfit all year.
Mhm.
So he's literally layered in like 20 or 30
costumes,
various
at least.
costumes.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
So they're all talking about how they're going to go to Britta's bar later to celebrate. And Elroy actually stands up and says he won't be joining them. And he parts ways with everyone and tells them he got a job in California at LinkedIn to help figure out why people don't use it.
LinkedIn.
And it's really funny, but it's like literally the opening scene. Elroy is
And
already
he's leaving.
leaving. And he's saying that he might be back. I think so. Yeah, probably. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's like this whole thing. So later on at the bar, everyone is hanging out except for Annie. Annie's not there. Abed's playing pool, and he's contemplating whether a bar scene has to start on a pool shot, or if every time someone takes a pool shot, it starts a new bar scene.
New bar scene, and they don't know, and then he looks directly at the camera.
It's hilarious. I love that one so much. Britta's making fun of Elroy for leaving. She's impersonating him, like turning and walking away.
Maybe.
And then Nipple Dippers toast to 6 years.
Yes.
To 6 seasons together. Chang asks everyone where Annie is because, no offense, she's the only one who really gets him. Obviously. Which is too much. And the Dean Pelton actually says she's at an interview right now. And then Frankie asks Abed, to Jeff's dismay, what he thinks season 7 will be like.
Yeah.
I think Jeff says, don't put a nickel in him. And Abed actually reveals he's uncertain about their future and doesn't think that they're going to get a season 7.
Yeah.
He says that they're hemorrhaging characters,
Yeah.
and like even if people come back and shift roles, that wouldn't be enough.
How's it gonna work?
Yeah. Even when even when Britta is like, let's bring Shirley back, Abed's like, that formula might not be enough to turn us back around and get us back on
Exactly.
track. So Frankie's like asking Abed to elaborate what formula they go by, and Abed pitches his show of their formula to her. So we get the little intro song.
Yep.
And each character, it's so funny. I can't even describe this.
It's hard to
It's
talk
remedial
about.
chaos theory too, but conceptually.
Yeah, and like each character in Abed's pitch where he's trying to describe their formula is literally speaking in their like dialogue formula.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jeff is speaking how he kind of delivers his lines, and then Britta does the same thing.
Yeah.
She's like, absurd reaction.
Yeah.
I think Annie's is my favorite, where she's like, you guys, can we please put a pin in the B story and focus on the A story?
Yeah.
They bring Shirley back. She delivers her
Her
lines.
whole
It's
thing,
like,
oh my god.
it's so
And
hilarious.
then Chang is just like, what is he?
Oh
like,
yeah, he's saying a bunch of weird things. He goes, Obama.
Chang.
He's so funny.
You see Frankie and Shirley
yeah.
interact, and it's just like, oh,
Yes.
that's...
Is this
ooh.
pairing going to work?
Yeah,
She's like,
exactly.
I'm not the one to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frankie's
And then the
like,
dean comes in,
dressed in a diaper.
just in a diaper, and
Just
stands
to
there.
stand there. Yeah. It's so funny. Oh yeah, that's what Chang said. Chang's like, lizard, fire hydrant, Obama, Chang. Oh, it's ridiculous. So after Abed finishes pitching this, the dean and Britta kind of object to that. They're really offended by it, especially the dean in a diaper.
Yeah.
And Abed says that things have a certain structure, and if they stray from it, they're weird, and if they stick to it, they're boring.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really cool commentary on the show, obviously. So then the dean says, yeah, but isn't that the more about the shape of your brain, Abed? I mean, no offense, but isn't the shape of your brain kind of fucked up?
Yeah.
And fully says it. He drops
He
like
says
the
it's
F
fucked
bomb.
up. It's so good.
It's hilarious.
Oh, so then Abed ends up coercing the dean into revealing his pitch because the dean keeps talking about it.
And his is horrible.
Yes, and actually Abed tries to give him the choice of having Shirley or Elroy, and then the dean's like, that's racist, man. That's racist. Shirley or Elroy? Why not both? Why not a whole new
What about a whole third black person?
So in the dean's pitch, there's literally a third black person in the background, not even at the study
At the
table,
like a
fucking
stool in the
in
corner.
the background.
Yeah.
and just sitting there.
And it's the dean's impression of everyone trying to discuss how they're acting and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Britta's
Shirley.
like, also vote, but don't vote.
And she's like, and I'm sad about stuff and I don't know why. And Annie made a belt out of fabric. Oh, isn't this cute? Oh, it's so ridiculous.
Oh god! And then when he does Elroy and Shirley, he gets so
They're
racist.
oh my god, it's ridiculous. And they're like, and hallelujah and street wisdom.
And
Yeah.
street wisdom
I
and
love
church
that.
talk.
So
In
offensive.
all the shots where it had Shirley Elroy and that third black dude, they're all together because the dean's like, because the black people are like, over.
No,
Oh,
they're all
yeah.
together.
Oh,
They,
all
they
together.
want to.
Oh gosh.
Yep, and the
Mm.
dean is
Yeah.
too much. And then his ends with
Lord.
Jeff standing up and taking his shirt off and putting the dean's hand on his stomach for him.
And
And
the
the
dean
dean is
who's
dressed like
God.
God with the big old Flava Flav, like,
Oh, and
claws.
his scythe, and he's
his
also
side-
deaf.
Yeah, so he's like God and
Death.
death and all of these things in
And
one.
time. There we go.
It's
God
so
Father Time.
Oh
Yeah.
my
horrible.
god.
It's so bad. And then like everyone's talking about that after he finishes pitching it.
Yeah.
So then Chang
Pitching it. I
Pitch-
liked that.
That works too, right? So then Chang is actually arguing against bringing anyone back.
Yep.
And he is like, what if we introduce a totally new character? So he pitches his with a brand new committee member named Ice Cube Head, which is like a cartoon 3D animated character
Yeah,
that
claymation, disturbing looking
It's
motherfucker.
horrifying.
has
It makes no
magical
sense.
powers that can help them solve whatever
Yep.
they need to solve. It's just
And he's
so
like, but don't leave your cell
ridiculous.
phones out because they taste like prime rib
to
to
me.
me.
He likes to eat cell phones, and then the dean appears at the end dancing in a diaper this
Yes.
time. But when we cut out of Chang's pitch, the dean
Dean
is
is
still
just
dancing
dancing.
at the bar, which is so funny.
Oh,
Jeff
my
is
God.
basically fed up with everything at this point, and he's actually leaving when Annie shows up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Annie shows up and announces that she got a summer internship with the FBI in D.C., and everyone's congratulating her. And when Britta asks if she can have her room in the apartment if she doesn't go back, if she doesn't come back, Annie says she'll definitely be back. Probably. Maybe. And Jeff hears that and ends up having a nightmarish pitch of his future,
Yep.
where he imagines he's the only study group member left at Greendale.
At the same
And
Greendale
all
committee.
and all of his friends in the committee are replaced by all of our side characters. So everyone
Yes.
at the study table with Jeff, it's now Vicky, Garrett, Dave, Todd, Leonard,
Yes.
and Scrunch, who is the tech billionaire who
Yes.
bought Greendale.
Played by Seth Green.
Seth Green. Incredible. So they're all just trying to get everyone to stay on track. No one can focus.
Mhm.
Garrett won't stop holding Leonard's hand. And they all tell him that they're eventually going to abandon him as well while he has to stay behind at Greendale still.
Mhm.
Yep.
So Jeff is pulled out of his thoughts by a concerned Annie, and he actually invites her to join them in speculating about season 7, which he's now very adamant that they
very
figure
on
out.
board for.
Yeah.
So interesting, Jeff.
We have to figure out a way to make season 7 happen.
Exactly, that's what we're here to do. So he pitches another scenario where Annie commutes to Greendale in Colorado from the FBI headquarters in Washington. And Annie in the pitch is actually wondering why she'd make that commute, and why doesn't the audience feel sorry for her when the dean comes in, dressed in another diaper, of course, to announce that Britta's parents have been murdered. But don't worry, because Annie's got the case.
Annie's on the case.
That's why she's here. That's why it's going to work that she's staying at Greendale.
Exactly.
Britta is extremely offended that Jeff killed both of her parents in the pitch. She's like, that's all based on my parents dying. And Jeff reasons that there's always going to be a need for law at Greendale. Remember the ass crack bandit? And Annie obviously does.
Annie acts very nervously. Doesn't everybody remember her?
I know everyone is the ass crack bandit, but I feel like this makes me convinced Annie might have been the original. Because she's also the one in season 2 to first bring up the ass crack bandit and how they want to find him. And it's like, isn't that like a serial killer thing where they want to like show off that they're able to get away with all of this stuff?
You're so right, and that they're so much smarter than everybody else.
Annie is so much smarter than everyone else.
We just watched an episode of SVU where a dude basically did that.
Actually.
He was the dude raping. That's a side note. He was the dude raping and like killing the woman and like all them like because they were virgins and like that was his thing. And he pretended to be a psychic.
So he could tell them where he would leave the bodies.
They were like, who's this dude? There's hundreds of tip lines, da da da. And then no one was taking him seriously. He was in the police station watching them freak out. And that's what he said. He was like, I loved it. I fucking loved watching you all freak out and try to find me. And I was right in front of your face. And you didn't take me seriously.
The power that he had.
And he gave hints and I was like, how the fuck does he know? And like, I literally went to him and I was like, because he's a murderer. He's a fucking psychopath.
That's why.
And he was scarier than I thought.
Annie is the ass crack bandit. I'll go ahead and accept that.
Because she wants to get the fame and everything.
Yeah, so I fully believe that, especially after her reaction
when she
in
reacts
this episode.
Like that,
she's like,
and no one else does.
I remember him. Do you remember him?
Everybody. I thought everybody remembered him.
Him.
Oh, I love it. So then after this, Britta ends up countering with her own pitch of the perfect season 7.
Oh my god, that was one of the best. I can count.
Exactly. The entire song is different. The whole intro is different. Greendale is literally its own nation, like on an island.
God, on an island, you're so right. Their whole study room
much.
is
like
in the ocean.
Britta's like on the phone with the senator or the government or whatever. Annie's the school's FBI liaison. And Dean Pelton is officially a trans woman. He's transgender. That's it. Like that's the story arc. And Britta's like the leader in charge of everyone. And it's obviously a really, really bad pitch. And Frankie's criticizing that one. And she doesn't even own a TV, but she wouldn't watch that show.
She wouldn't watch the show.
So she asks how complicated it can be. And everyone asks her to pitch her idea. And it ends up getting booed by the whole group because it's just really bad. I think she has everyone say hello. And then someone says, how are you? And they say hello again.
How are you? And I'm fine. And they all just sit there.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's Chang farts. And so on.
And that was actually my favorite.
Yeah.
And so on.
That's his contribution. So it's very obvious that Frankie does not have the ability to really do
it.
No,
perhaps there's more nuance to this.
Yep. So after that, Abed comes in and he states that good TV has to be joyful, effortless, and fun. And that TV defeats its own purpose when it's pushing an agenda or trying to defeat other TV or being proud or ashamed of itself for existing. So he gives this really, really nice speech about how it's okay for TV to have a bad day or phone in a day, and it needs to be okay for it to get on a boat with LeVar Burton and never come back. Because eventually it all will. And it's just this, it's like Abed's little love letter to television and to everything that he's been aware of, like, happening with everyone the entire, like, you know, season, series. And watching that always makes me cry.
Oh my God, and hearing him say that, like, and honestly just referencing it to Troy leaving, I think... We'll talk about it more later, but that's obviously the first domino in the beginning of the end.
Yep, exactly. So Jeff actually has another effortless pitch, and this idea actually has him as the dean of Greendale, and everyone in the committee is actually like a faculty member at the school. So Chang is a real math teacher, Abed is a TV appreciation teacher, Britta is the new school shrink, Frankie has more of a reason to interact with everyone now. And by the way, she's a lesbian. That's why she hasn't found Jeff. According to his pitch.
Oh my God, Jeff, you insecure bastard.
Oh my God. And Annie teaches criminology. And look, she dresses like the original Annie. Yes. But she's grown up and hot. and everyone gets
But
along.
it's grown up and it's cool.
Exactly, and we're all happy and we're all together. The dean is taking dean classes that Greendale offers, and Jeff comes in and laments that they're supposed to be shaping minds, but we keep shaping each other. And it's hilarious, but it's so funny because you see this like little pitch and you're like, that is a reality where this show could still really work.
Yeah.
And it's so funny and
Jeff
interesting.
only pitches it because he loves them so much.
And wants them to all stay together and figures out how he can make it all happen, them all being teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone kind
Just
of
like
seems,
him.
Yep, exactly. So everyone seems to kind of like the pitch enough and agrees that it could work. And Jeff's like, all right, let's make it a reality. Annie, start looking into taking, teaching classes at Greendale.
Wow, yeah.
And he turns to Abed, and Abed's like, well, that might not actually be possible, because Abed reveals he's headed to Los Angeles. He's taken a job as a production assistant on a new Fox TV show that's like 30 Rock meets IT Crowd meets, well, him.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's growing up. He even says it himself. He says, I'm growing up. Oh, and it's so nice. And then Jeff kind of tries to make sure that Abed's coming back. He's like, but you'll be back, right? And Abed says, maybe. Probably. Maybe. And Jeff even says after that, but 6 seasons isn't a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Abed tells Jeff that he knows it helps him feel comfortable to live life in this meta lens, but he needs to live in reality.
Yeah.
And it's like this huge slap in the face to Jeff. So while everyone's cheering to Abed, Jeff imagines another pitch where he's literally just strangling various
Abed.
Abeds,
and has a pile of dead Abeds
already
in the study
with his
room.
bare hands that he's killed.
It's horrifying. So that scares Jeff, and he gets up and abruptly walks out of the bar and leaves because that kind of scares him.
Can't handle it.
Yeah. So he goes back to the study room, and Jeff is actually imagining a future where he's married to Annie.
Yeah, and they have a little child.
They have a son, Sebastian.
Yep, of course.
They both appear to be happy, but when Annie asks him in his dream if this is really what he wants, in Jeff's vision, he says he wants whatever she wants. But then when Annie tells Jeff, do you even know what I want? He has no idea.
Yeah.
And he kind of snaps out of that little vision when Annie enters the study room.
Yep.
So Annie comes in, and she tries to reassure Jeff that he's going to be fine, and Jeff admits he doesn't want to be fine. Mm-hmm. He wants to be 25 and young and stupid again and fall asleep on the beach and wake up and be okay, and he wants to have an opinion on those boring-ass Marvel movies, and he wants those opinions to matter to people. So Annie counters, and she tells him that she wants to order wine without feeling nervous. She wants stories, wisdom, and perspective, and
she wants so much behind her that she's not a slave to what's in front of her.
Exactly, especially those flavorless, unremarkable Marvel movies. And she admits that if she said that around anyone her age, she'd be screwed, but Jeff gets to say that, and that's because he's older. Yeah. And if he just accepts that he's older and let the kid stuff go, that he'll be fine.
That he can enjoy the joy that it is to be older.
Exactly, and everything that comes with, right. And Jeff says that he let Annie go despite still wanting her. And Annie's kind of stunned by his confession, and she gets a text saying that everyone's going to meet the rest of them there soon. And she tells Jeff that he should kiss her or he might regret it for the rest of his life. And it's actually really sweet, because when Jeff asks what about her, Annie's like, I'm going to regret the kiss for a week. I'm in my 20s. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's actually so true, and I think so true for her character too. So they actually finally kiss, and it's a really sweet moment, but it's not really romantic. It's not really sexual. Romantic. There's nothing to it. It's just a really sweet
closure, if anything.
That they share together. So the rest of the group walks in, and Jeff tells them that they were saying goodbye to the room together. And Annie says, season 7 is up in the air. There's too many variables. And then Abed says, cool, for every single season. And when Chang asks him to do it again, Chang farts over the 4th cool, calling it an inside joke.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite.
Yes.
Even in the very last episode, really, Dan Harmon, okay. Yep. So Frankie suggests, as a humble outsider that came in and nailed it.
Yes, she's the best.
She did. She crushed it. She crushed it so hard. She suggests that everyone take a minute to imagine their own personal season 7. And we see Jeff's, which is an entire group of new students, and they're all redhead, hot girls. And he's saying the iconic line from the pilot episode, you just stopped being a study group, and you just became a community. Yep. And he describes each girl as being their nerdy one, but also the hot one, and this and that, and it's a very funny.
And he's and I can accept this. Yep. And I can accept that I'm going to be here and you guys are going to leave, and I'm okay with that.
Yep. And that kind of makes me a hero. So they break out of their own little, season 7 imaginations, and
everybody has their own pitch. Yep. I love it.
And Jeff tells everyone that he loves that he got to be with them, to which Chang says gay. And then he says that they saved his life and changed his life forever, To which Chang also says, gay, even a little bit louder. But then Jeff thanks everyone. And even thinking about it makes me, like, want to cry because it's so
I'm getting
sweet.
teary-eyed.
Because they saved his life. So he goes and he embraces everyone in a group hug. They're all hugging, and while everyone, I'm sure, is crying while watching this episode, then Chang actually reveals that he's legit gay.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gay! For real gay! I'm legit gay! Crying while laughing at that revelation. It's hilarious. And then a few days later, Jeff is driving Annie and Abed to the airport because they're actually both going on to start their lives. He sees them off. He gives Annie a hug, and he hugs Abed. And this is one of my favorite moments because he pulls away from hugging Abed and then pulls Abed in for another hug, hugs him a second time, and lets them go on their way. And he goes back to the bar to meet up with Britta, Frankie, Dean Pelton, and Chang for a drink. And this is where Britta says, "This is the show."
Yeah.
And then the scene fades, and we get a black screen with the hashtag and a movie.
Yeah.
Which we're all still waiting for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then our end tag
Wow.
is hilarious.
Oh my
this
God.
is too
Arguably
much.
the best
It is
one.
too much.
Oh my God.
It's the most.
So it's a commercial being shown, and it's featuring a family playing the Community TV show
show
board
game.
game. A narrator is doing a voiceover selling the game as the father of the family has a startling revelation. His son plays a move and hands the script of the commercial that's currently happening to the dad.
Yeah.
And the dad has, like, a mental breakdown. He breaks
An
like
existential breakdown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a whole epiphany, and he realizes that he and his family are just promotional, like, people, and their constructs
In
and
a
they
commercial.
aren't real.
We
None
were
of
never
this is
born.
happening. We don't exist. So the truth dawns on the family, and it kind of zooms out, and then, like, the narrator continues to plug the game, and the commercial comes to an end as the sales pitch turns into, like, this lengthy meta commentary.
Yeah.
Actually said by Dan Harmon himself, like, admitting dice aren't included, some assembly required. Lines between perception, desire, and reality may become blurred, redundant, or interchangeable. Characters may hook up with no regard for your emotional investment. Some episodes too conceptual to be funny, some too funny to be immersive, some so immersive they still aren't funny. This is one of my favorite ones. Consistency between seasons may vary.
Yeah.
Viewers may be measured by a secretive, obsolete system based on selected participants keeping handwritten journals of what they watch. Show may be canceled and moved to the internet, where it turns out tens of millions were watching the whole time. May not matter. Fake commercial may end with disclaimer gag, which may descend into vain Chuck Lorre-esque rant by narcissistic creator. Creator may be unstable. Therapist may have told creator this is not how you make yourself a good person.
Yeah.
Life may pass by while we ignore and mistreat those close to us. Those close to us may be watching. Those people may want to know I love them, but I may be incapable of saying it. Contains pieces the size of a child's esophagus. The end.
And that is
That's
the
it.
end of Community.
Yeah.
And I need everybody to know that I even teared up in having Ashley go
I was
through
just trying
that.
to stop
Yeah.
myself because I was like, you can't cry while you're reading this, bitch.
I know, because you're so ugly. I sound horrible when I try to talk through my cries.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so because I think we discussed this a couple days ago. This is the perfect way for this show to end.
And we've seen a lot of series finales as of late. One of the most disappointing, and I'll just say it for myself, was Game of Thrones.
Fuck that shit.
Bullshit.
God damn it.
Worst.
And
Not good.
this would be the only show I feel like I invested in as much, and I actually got the payoff.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
so many shows fail in actually giving their characters closure and giving their stories closure.
Yep.
And I think this is one of the few ones that does it, like, perfectly.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone has what they need, gets what they need, and even if they aren't getting it, like Annie and Abed, they're going off to achieve
Yeah,
what
they're
they want.
expanding beyond Green.
Yeah. And I think that's so great because it wouldn't have made any sense for Annie and Abed to stay at Greendale.
Yep.
They're so young, they're starting their lives. That's what community college was for them, a stepping stone to something bigger.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
they're onto more, they're onto better things.
Yeah, but for everyone else, this is like a nice place for them to arrive at.
Britta and Jeff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, Chang and Dean Pelton and
yeah.
Frankie. You
And
know,
Frankie
they're
too,
all like,
yeah.
It's such a fun, also just going from the title, Emotional Consequences of Broadcast Television,
Ugh.
it's like, there are emotional consequences. Like, we obviously connected so deeply with these characters and felt so much that, like, we're obviously sad that it's gone.
Exactly.
But then we're also tied to their stories, and, like, we actually care that if it is going to end, that it's going to be done in a way that feels fair to them.
And authentic.
And authentic, exactly.
definitely.
And, like, and like a love letter to everything that like the show was.
A love letter to fans, a love letter to television. It's a love letter to so many things all at the same time, which I think is a really a testament to Dan Harmon and his like creative ability and how much he loves television himself.
Yeah, I think you're so right. And I love that they explore like what everybody's season 7 would be. And it's almost like that episode where like everybody tells their horror stories and we get to learn a little bit more about the characters. But at the end of the day, everybody's talking about the same thing in that they all care about each other, they all see value, and they all see each other, and they all see each other in their future.
Yep.
But in reality, sometimes our best intentions still mean that, like, for the people who can stay there, that's good, but for the people that have to go, if we love them, we have to let them go.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that in Jeff's fantasy. He's at home with Annie,
Yeah.
and in this pretend life that he thinks would make him happy, and Annie is still there to be like, but really think about this.
Exactly.
Are you going to be happy knowing that I'm not happy? Have you even thought about what would make me happy?
Yeah.
Do you even care?
And he doesn't even know.
Exactly, and I think that this is a good exploration of Jeff understanding that in caring about people, he has to let them go. He has to let them do what's best for them, even if it's not what's best for him.
Yeah. And that's really hard for him to do.
Yes.
And he's only able to do it because he's come full circle and like actually has grown and changed and can actually pick people before himself.
Yeah. Oh.
As much as it makes him feel some sort of way, I think this is a big exploration of Jeff's insecurity because he understands that, like, in the conversation that he has with Annie, and like, I want to have my whole life ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has to realize that he's lived his life, and his place where he ended up is Greendale.
Yes.
And that's where he can have the most change, the most effect on the people around him, and still be his core self, but the best version of himself.
Absolutely.
That's where his journey is. And I feel the same way about Britta. Like, Britta and Jeff belong here, and they also want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff doesn't want to be a big fish in a big pond.
No.
He wants to be his big fish in his small pond.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not any judgment on Jeff. That's where he thrives. And I think people gravitate towards Jeff. We need Jeffs in Orange County,
In places
in
like that,
small
yeah.
places where it's like, yeah, not everybody here can be a star, but we have room for somebody to be a star and help everybody feel important,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And Britta is also part of that where she belongs in Colorado, but it's explored, obviously, that, like, having Annie stay there would be holding her back from everything that she could
For sure.
and should be.
Yeah.
And same thing with Abed. They've both been building to something much bigger than
Mm-hmm.
this.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a part of the journey of going to community college. It's a part of the journey of going to college overall. You go there knowing that the whole purpose is to leave. And at some point we all have to, like, make peace with that and understand that our journeys look different.
Yeah.
I think just in talking about the finale a little bit more to kind of tie everything together, I think we all got so emotional because it was so good. It was a revisiting of so many themes, so many stories, jokes, everything overall.
It was a
tied up
critical
in
analysis of community as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. And let's talk about these characters, and let's talk about what their stories look like, and let's talk about the fact that this is a show, and we have to let these characters go, just like we have to let these actors move on to other projects.
Yeah.
We had to let Donald Glover go so he can go be a star. All good things have to come to an end. And so I appreciate Abed's whole speech in that, and I love that he's the one that's able to deal with it, because I think, like when you mentioned that Jeff goes back and hugs Abed twice.
Yeah.
This whole series starts with Jeff and Abed, and it ends with Jeff and Abed.
Yeah,
That's why he hugs them twice, because I think, God, now I'm going to get emotional talking about it, like, Jeff never had people who pushed through his bullshit to see the person that he was underneath it. And in doing this, he found this whole family. And if it wasn't for, God, I sound so ridiculous. If it wasn't for Abed, like, all of this would have never happened.
Yeah, Abed brought it all together.
And like you said, you guys saved my life and changed my life. And I guess I'm getting, like, emotional, because that's how I feel about, like, my friends, and that's how I feel about, like, you guys and stuff like that. So I think it's really beautiful that at the very beginning we get Abed and Jeff, and we realize that, like, as different as Jeff and Abed can be, Jeff learns to communicate and understand more about himself through Abed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And he tells him at the end, I know it helps you to look at the world through this meta lens, and it's like, no, Abed, that was your thing.
Yeah.
But I think Jeff never really tried to understand the world around him and the people around him, and, like, caring about people, and doing it through the tropes that Abed does and doing it through the scope of like seeing things as a show. It helped Jeff understand himself. I think Stone and I have talked about it, that he's been able to learn stuff about himself in watching Jeff, you know, and I think we all have experienced those things where it's like, you know, maybe I wouldn't have seen this clearly unless I watched somebody else who I relate to actually go through those things, you know?
That's so true.
Yeah.
And I think we all talk about it, like the role that college has played in our lives, you know, us going and having to leave, having Stone have it be a place where he stopped, and it was a pit stop on his journey to finding what was right for him.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful way to kind of tie it all together. When he hugs Abed twice, I think that's definitely his way of thinking, and for everything that he brings, that he brought into his life.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
it wasn't for that,
for making these past 6 years happen for him.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just overall, the show, for me at least, it stays one of my favorite shows because, again, we've watched it so many times and it doesn't get old.
Yeah.
We keep learning new things.
Still
like when
hits
we were
us hard.
watching season 6, we saw that in the back on the whiteboard behind them, they had the number of every episode.
Oh, yeah, for the IMDb. You can, like, go and look it up online.
Yeah, you can look it up online, but it would also have, like, S6.
GC613.
Yeah, GC,
for each one,
Exactly, and just all of these, the attention to detail, the jokes that, like, I always wonder, I'm like, they wrote this for themselves, you know, they wrote that joke for themselves, and for the few people that might watch it critically enough to catch those things, or watch it enough that you will catch those things, you know?
Yeah.
And I think for me, just overall, for me, it was a big thing of, like, I know what kind of show I want to make after watching this, you know? I was a lot more clear on, you know, I want people to feel represented when they watch my show. I want people to feel like it's a piece of their reality, but also that you can watch it so many times and that you can go back and learn new things about the characters, and that we're so invested. I mean, here we are crying about fictional characters who, you know, that felt so real to us. I think that that's a big reason why this show will stand the test of time, at least for me, because the characters feel real. They felt like my friends that I got to know over 6 seasons that I was lucky enough to know. How are you guys feeling about it? I mean, Stone, it was the show that you introduced to us, and now we're on the other side of it.
Well, like, my favorite thing about it is, like, it is kind of timeless and it is kind of ageless for me because it's really about the characters. That's one thing that I really like is, like, as much as there's, like, references to what's going on in the moment, I really feel like people in, like, 25 years can watch this and still resonate with it because it's about the people, not the setting. So and, like, the setting is just, like, an extra character that is just, like, where everyone else takes place and grows. And the show really, really did its whole thesis of, like, we want to show these characters go from who they are at the start, Britta being, like, pretending to be smart but not that woke, Annie being a basket case who's not that confident in herself, but then, like, overconfident in some ways, Abed being completely socially inept, and then, I mean, oh, well, that's really it that's left.
No, Jeff being selfish and not being able to care about people.
Yeah, and Chang actually going from, like, an insane person who's lying to, like, no, I mean, I'm kind of dealing with it. I know I'm crazy, and I've got a lot to go through. Like, we see the dean accept that maybe he isn't the best dean, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and starts accepting help.
Yeah.
Like, we see Frankie being like, even by Frankie at the end of season 6, just talking about season 6, she's like, as a humble outsider that came in and nailed it. She did. She helped everyone be like, no, we're going to grow into the community. These characters, these people, when the TV show is off, when we aren't paying attention, these are the people who are going to go and actually enter this real world.
They don't need
quotation
to be saved.
Marks.
They're not the Save Greendale Committee anymore. Nope. And in doing that,
nipple dippers.
She realizes her potential too. Yeah. Like that's Frankie's job.
She steps out of her shell a little bit. Yeah. And it's great. Everyone affects each other, and, like, Greendale is this really cool setting where it does do that. And, like, I like with this episode how Jeff and Abed actually have a complete and total role reversal.
Yeah.
Because there's this part where Jeff's like, I'm coming in and we're going to talk about season 7. I'm so excited. And Abed's really like, or, we could just hang out.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, Abed, who wants to go meta, who's critical, who's all about TV, who this conversation seems like an Abed-centric and dominated one. He's like, no, I actually think, like, I'm a person. Like, we're at a bar. Yeah. We're friends. It's over. Let's not, like, lament that we aren't going to have something special. Also because he's going to come out, like, being like, I'm not going to be here. So that's another reason why I'm feeling this way. But then we get to see Jeff being like, no, I'm retreating into my mind, like he did at the end of season 5 or 4.
Right.
And that he really has this trait in common with Abed, that he can be pathological, that he can be obsessed about things, and things that affect him have a huge emotional recourse on, like, everything that he does. So it's cool seeing Jeff escape into the reality, like it's truly like Abed is fully realized that Jeff has to confront like his last big flaws. Like, Jeff, things need to end.
Yeah.
Even like, I know you got over your age, you got over not being a student, you got over being a teacher, but the fact of the matter is, and it's true for everybody, you're going to have a close friend and close people that you're going to love and never want to leave, but they, because you love them so much and they touched your life so especially, if they evolve beyond the nest, if they evolve that, you can't be anything but happy. But there is this melancholy that comes with it, because it's like someone I love is gone.
Well, that's
and
the
it's because
thing.
of nothing bad.
It's the group facing reality, and that all things come to an end.
Annie was always, and like I said, the age. Annie and Abed were always too big and too young just to hang out with people who are honestly in their mid-30s to 40s.
Yeah.
And hang out at a bar with. They have too much potential. They haven't lived life yet. If anything, Greendale put them in a position to be like, you know what? Here is your chance, and here's your opportunity. And they did it. They did it, and they go.
This is where they start. This is where their lives really start.
Yeah, Jeff's life is over, and that's like he's finding comfort in where he was. But
I wouldn't say over, but I'm saying like,
I mean, like Jeff knows what he's doing for the
for
rest of his life. Is like I'm saying he's not going to be like, and I'm going to be a pro bono lawyer. He's tried everything he thought he wanted to do, and life and Greendale has shown him what he really wants and really needs.
And what he's going to be doing.
Yes.
I like that.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in 10 years in this universe, Jeff is actually probably a half-decent teacher. Because, you know what, it's probably the one job he's actually be like, I'm staying.
I mean, would you be open to the and a movie?
Oh, always, yeah. I would love to see a movie as long as it feels, like, organic and natural,
Right.
I guess.
Authentic.
And, like, if everyone wanted to do it. Because I've read, like, interviews where apparently, like, Dan Harmon has scripts written and it's just a matter of getting them all to do it again. But... Yeah, who knows if it would ever actually line up. I think if they don't do it, it works, because the way they ended it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So if they don't reopen that box, that's fine. But if they do, I'm definitely there.
Well, there you go.
So I think
That's
this
it, yeah.
concludes the final Community cast.
Yeah. 6 seasons.
6 seasons. We'll see about a movie. If a movie comes, you better know
We'll have
we're
an
going to
and
be
a movie
back.
cast.
We're going to be, exactly, and a movie cast, and that's what it's going to be called. But for anybody who's listened to all 6 episodes, I want to thank you deeply for
Grazie.
for staying with our social experiment that was our first podcast, but built around something that we loved so much.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always going to be here hoping for the and a movie. So
Always.
if anybody's out there that wants to make it happen, let us know, because we want to help too.
Yeah, we'll do whatever we can.
Whatever we can. I'll work for free for the community movie. Hell yeah,
it's worth it.
But thanks for everybody who listened. Thanks to the writers, directors, creators of the show Community, because it gave us
everyone who brought the show to life.
Yeah, brought it to life, because it gave us something that brought to life our first podcast, and now
something
very
that's
much
going to stay with us forever.
Forever, in our production company and everything. And I think there's something to be said about art that moves you to action.
Yes, definitely.
And we've talked about doing so many things before, and this is the show that actually made us do something. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. I'm incredibly grateful for the beautiful people next to me.
Yep.
I'm Miranda.
Me too.
I'm
also Miranda.
We're all Miranda.
Miranda, Ashley Stone.
Yes.
We are so grateful that you guys spent your last few weeks with us, and hopefully we'll be back in the coming months, weeks, whatever, with more projects. And just thanks again to everybody who created Community. Thanks everybody who listened, and peace out.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.